All new tonight, a freshman congressman from North Carolina is going viral, and it's all because of the digital peek he's giving behind the political curtain.
Yeah, so more and more we are seeing lawmakers taking to social media apps like Instagram and TikTok to reach Gen Z and millennials. WCNC Charlotte's Shamaria Morrison found out what some experts think of the impacts this could be for voter engagement.
North Carolina Congressman Jeff Jackson says what's mundane to some members of Congress has been fascinating to millions of people on the popular social media app TikTok.
I did a post to social media where I told people about here's what the first week looks like, and part of it's about new security and part of it's meeting other members. And there was a ton of interest, and people asked a lot of really good questions.
2.7 million people on TikTok viewed it.
3 weeks ago, I was elected to Congress. Since then, my life has changed completely. I thought you might be interested, so here's what happens right after you get elected to Congress.
People wanted to know if he represented their district, that their social studies classes watched his TikToks, and that the transparency was refreshing.
There's just a massive lack of trust in all elected officials in what we do here. And the way that you address that is through transparency. Transparency is the key to trust.
Assistant Professor of History, Dr. Robert Green, says the American public responds positively when you let them inside on how government works.
I think so often what we see in Washington, D.C. is this assumption that what happens there just stays there. But in fact, if more Americans are aware of how the process of legislating actually works, it may hopefully push more Americans to run for high office, to actually go to town hall forums, to actually push their congressmen and senators to work on their behalf.
Jackson doesn't use his government-issued phone for TikTok, nor his normal personal one. He got a different phone, specifically for the social media app.
I've got a phone that has one app on it, and that app is TikTok.
And could you explain to us why that's so important for you to do that?
Yeah, it's because TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, and we've seen legitimate security concerns there.
Jackson anticipates more guardrails around data usage and how TikTok uses the algorithm of the app. For now, he's keeping security and openness at the forefront.
The idea is to start to fill some of that deep hole where trust used to be and get to a place where, as Americans, we can at least have a conversation again about problems we have to solve.
Shamaria Morrison, WCNC Charlotte.
So you heard him talking about keeping TikTok on a separate phone, the non-government phone. In separate news, but pertinent here, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper has signed an executive order banning TikTok on state devices. So government devices. Lawmakers across the state have been pushing for this. We've seen this ban elsewhere too in the country. In fact, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster put a TikTok ban in place just a few weeks ago.